Hey, how's it going, everybody? This is Joey Galvez, one half of your host of Explain Yourself, and I want to let you guys know about a really cool book from our friend of the show, Eli Shockey. This one is called The Greylock, and it's a story where magic is a commodity. Potions are sold at corner stores. Orcs and dwarves earn a living in cubicles, not on the battlefields. But there are those who resist the house's magic's laws. Branded a criminal and forced to live as a wand for hire, there is a spell slinger they call the Greylock. Check this one out. You guys can pre-order issue 3 right now with code JAN241939, and make sure you guys are heading over to your favorite LCS and letting them know that you want Greylock number 3, and maybe pick up the first 2 issues. You could do that at the Scout web store. So make sure you guys are grabbing the Greylock number 3, JAN241939 at previewsworld.com.
Okay, everybody, welcome to the latest episode of All Too Real 2. My name is Michael E. Cullen II, and with me, as always, is...
Sesame, Carp Lowry, and Carta.
Carp Lowry.
Yeah.
In Carta. So, So do you pay by the letter, as we've tried to... I've tried to... Is this a syllable, letter... when you change your name?
Well, I pay by the minnow now, since
the minnow. That's what I was wondering, if it was like minnow or goldfish that you're paying, or
yeah, since I'm a fish creature now who has a humanoid face somehow.
Yes.
And speaks English with a southern accent, southern United States American accent.
Mm-hmm.
Now I pay things in goldfish and minnows. So.
And you're a carp, so it's kind of like slavery.
Well,
or you're paying in dead bodies. I'm confused.
I wouldn't put it in that way, but it's more of like I guess more along those lines.
Okay, dead bodies.
I guess. I mean, I don't know.
And because your name's like Lowry, do you put like the Lowry seasoning salt on your?
Oh yeah, that stuff is really good. Yeah, no, definitely. Yeah, I make sure I have a stock full of that for my customers. Yeah, definitely. Now, I'm spreading fake news, which is perfectly leads into the theme, which I didn't even know at the time when I picked this. I just saw some animation.
Yeah.
Kind of decided to go with it.
It's topical.
Very important for this whole week, because there's been a lot of fake news being spread by certain people, and and here this whole episode's basically about how fake news is bad and how it can lead to pretty bad consequences. So
yeah. It's important, actually. I mean, if the animation wasn't like nightmare fuel, I would suggest people watch this almost.
Actually.
But so anyways, today we are talking about an episode, the second episode in a series. I didn't realize it was a series when we first watched it. It's a series called Gaither's Pond. And this episode was called Fish Tales. Yeah. Which makes sense. It's kind of like, when you tell a tall tale or a fish tale, like kind of like Big Fish, like the movie, where you embellish something and make up things and change the truth to lies.
Yeah.
Wait.
Big Fish, man. That's right.
Yeah.
I remember that movie.
That was a good movie.
It is a good movie, yeah.
Yeah. Probably my favorite Tim Burton, which is weird, besides Batman. But or Batman.
Oh, I didn't know
Returns.
I didn't know it's Tim Burton film. It kind of makes sense though.
Yeah.
Style of it. It's got the dude who played Russell and Almost Famous. Russell.
Yeah.
His last name Russell Cameron or Russell something. I don't know. The guitar player and Stillwater and Almost Famous. Same dude without a mustache though.
Yes.
Billy Crudup. Is that his name?
Billy Crudup. Yeah. Crudup or Crudup. I don't know which it is, but yeah.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
Yes. But he's a really good actor and a good guy too. From
but unlike in that movie where the dad just liked to tell tall tales because it made people feel better, this character is actually causing a lot of problems in his society. He's got going on.
And he's spreading fake news.
Yep.
Years before that became like a common thing for people to say when they didn't believe something.
This was in the 90s, wasn't that? Early 2000s?
It was 99 this episode was made.
Okay.
So here's the thing, okay, with this Gaither's Pond, the first episode was made in 97.
Okay.
The second episode in 99. Then the third in 2001, and then 2003 for the fourth.
Okay.
So they took like a couple years in between each episode.
Well, you know why? It's because the animation took so long to so good that it took years to finish the animation.
I mean, they took almost the same amount of time it took to make Toy Story or something, and
but they need that extra time, to
get this high quality of uncanny valley nightmare fuel, as I keep calling it.
Especially Carp Lowry, his is the weirdest animation.
It's so weird. These fish and other creatures, for the most part, have like human features, like noses and lips and eyes that a fish shouldn't have. I mean, like if you look at Finding Nemo, it's anthropomorphized. Nemo and Marlin and Dory and all them are, but they're not like creepy. They're not like half human.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, like, it kind of reminds me of Joshua the Promised Land a little bit, with the lions have like human teeth.
Yeah.
And it's like, but they're lions. They're not supposed to have human teeth. And they're not supposed to walk on hind legs either, but hey, whatever. And nightmare fuel. That's a good description for this particular episode. You got another character called Dennis Rod Frog or something.
Yeah, that's like a cameo appearance almost. It wasn't really Dennis Rodman in the episode. Just letting you know.
I figured it wasn't, but I
was hoping it would, because then I would have a connection to the movie or the episode, because I watched a whole Mud Hen game with Dennis once. So but
which that also means now that you also have a connection to Kim Jong-il or Kim Jong-il, because he used to North Korea and watch movies with them. Yeah. So now you have a second degree separation.
Wasn't it Kim Jong-un, the current one?
No, it was it's both, because he used to also know Kim Jong-il. Well,
but he's like buddies with the current.
So now you have a 1 degree separation from the 2 North Korean dictators.
Yes.
So...
I'm proud of that. Wait.
Yeah. Okay.
How do you define proud again?
How do you right where? Of course, this movie all the people would have been persecuted and murdered because they're Christians in this movie. So
that's probably a good thing that Dennis wasn't in it.
Because North Korea's an atheist dictatorship. So that's fun.
So anyways, this movie is produced by this company created by the Gaither family, which are like these Christian gospel folk singers and evangelists and and stuff like that. Like, or I guess they have like they had their own like television shows and they're like preachers and whatnot. I don't know how to explain that whole thing, but they're
super famous.
Yeah, there's like Bill Gaither is like the patriarch of the family. He was born in 1936, so he's up there age wise, 87. And he was part of the Bill Gaither trio, the Gaither vocal band. And his son kind of ran this thing. And like wrote and co-starred in it, Benjy Gaither.
Okay, Benjy, nice.
Yeah, and he plays, guess what his character's name is?
In this movie or this episode? Oh, I don't remember which one it was.
So, my thing is it's right there. His last name's Gaither, and it should have been Gator. You know, he should have played a Gator, but he's not. He's Buck and Guppie Penrod in the series. So.
Oh, okay. Yeah, there's no gators in this episode at all.
Yeah.
Not one.
You know?
But then again, gators don't usually live in ponds.
But you have Bill Gaither is in this, though, too. He plays Big Bass Bill, who's like the president of the pond.
Well, actually a dictator, because apparently there is no democracy in this community. He's president for life, dictator, no one cares. There's no elections.
Yeah, but I mean, if everybody just kind of agrees that they want him to be the leader, isn't that kind of like a democracy?
Well, no, not necessarily, because they should still hold elections, and not still want to vote for him, even if no one runs if even he runs unopposed.
Yeah, they should still
be elections. An election just in case, but not even hold elections. Again, I'm reading way too much into it because I like to do that.
I mean, who knows? Maybe they had an election like the day before the events of this.
No, it's my meta theory is that so that's what we're going with, and that's the other thing. So what's his name, Bark or whatever, Barclay or what's the fish's name, Bark?
Carp Lowry.
Like Carp Lowry is actually the chief propagandist of the government. But then he went too far with the fake news, because that's what you got to do. When you're in a dictatorship, you have to do fake news all the time. It's propaganda. That's what fake news is. But he went too far with the propaganda and just got too excited and giddy. So he's just going around saying, someone got, an MBA scholarship or MBA something. So-and-so's running for president. He was meant to basically create a political enemy by saying that so-and-so was going to run for president so that they could take this person out, make him swim with the fishes, for want of a better word, in order to, secure, what's his name, Bill or whatever, his
Big Bass Bill or whatever.
Yeah, Big Bass Bill, because he's like, hey, look at me. I saved you people from a potential coup, and therefore I am your great leader. I am your servant. And by the way, you can never vote for anyone else because I'm always here to protect you. I saved you from this person. But Carp accidentally went too far, made it into like a joke, and said that the goose or the duck was running for president. He's like, oh no, but that person's my friend. I don't want to get my friend in trouble. So then he had to fix the whole situation by like, oh, it was a retraction. I was just kidding, and I didn't mean to start all this trouble. Please don't kill me, Big Bass Bill. I didn't mean to go too far with my propaganda. That's pretty much like the underlying story of it in my sort of paranoid brain.
Okay.
That's not all what happened, by the way. But
but that's okay. You can make things up.
Yeah. Well, yeah, because fake news, exactly. So,
so Carp, our lead character here, played by Mark Lowry. So, I realized just now that I watched a comedy video of his years ago.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Because he's a stand-up comic and singer and preacher. So, and minister and all that. Yeah, so, I watched some, some Christian comedy video. I swear my ex-girlfriend had it and showed it to me. So.
Is he Mormon or not?
No, I'm pretty sure he's just a Christian, but it's interesting. So but he's you see him in live action at the end of the video.
That's right.
Yeah.
That was so bizarre
Mm-hmm.
at the end. Yeah.
So yeah. So what do we want to talk about here? What happens?
Yeah, exactly. Because there's a lot to go through. So, all right, I'll just go with the like the meat here, or the fish meat here of the show. So, Carp Lowry, he's a fish, and he has a newsletter that he has a bunch of subscribers to, and he just talks about what's going on in the pond, in the community. And he makes up a bunch of stories, but this time he went too far, and he just said a whole bunch of stuff that someone was gonna be, someone got like a multi-million-dollar book deal, which was like a flower, anthropomorphic flower creature. Someone was being scouted as to be an NBA player, which then made Dennis Rodfrog mad, and that he was trying to challenge him to a basketball match as a frog. Mm-hmm. And the other person was like a bee or something. I don't know. Or some kind of fly. I don't know I'm not sure what creature that was.
Yeah. I was trying to figure that out, if he was a fly or what he was.
And the person doing the voice was like
Buddy Greenfly. That's who it was.
That's right, Buddy Greenfly.
Played by, guess what his name is?
Something Green or Fly.
Buddy Greene.
It's a Buddy Greene, okay.
Yeah.
And then the Dennis Rodfrog character, which is just great names. I love it, Rodfrog. Like they didn't even try with that one. Of course, the frog is black.
Yeah.
Or looks black, and then the accent is like a very stereotypical, like kind of, like jumpy, excited black guy voice. Which, maybe the guy who's done it is black, and maybe that's how he likes to do it. So
there were some African Americans, at least one in this.
Yeah. Cast, so again, that's the way he wanted to
figure out who did the voice, though. I'm looking that up.
Yeah.
So, yeah, we'll see.
But that character was super annoying. I hated that character. That whole bit was just stupid, in my opinion.
Yeah.
I didn't think. No, but whatever. He's trying to eat the fly, I guess, which is weird because how could you have a basketball match if you already ate your competition? Like, how could you even?
Well, that's how you win. You don't really.
Well, I guess, yeah. You just kill your. That's a new basketball rule. You just kill your.
That's a new rule that they're actually going to implement in the NBA next year. It's like LeBron James is just going to kill his opponents, and that's
you can just stab them or choke them or push them off or whatever. Yeah. Anyway, so he's got everyone all up in arms because he said that this duck or this goose lady is running for president, and there's people already oh, she'd be a great president, and we need some change. Bill has been president for forever, and it'd be nice to get something new, and Bill sees what's going on, and his cronies are trying to get him all pumped up, and he's trying to be calm. He's like, actually, she'd be a good president. They're like, no, she's evil. Well, they didn't say that. And Bill's actually a good president because he's hey, he's a good dictator. He's a benevolent dictator. He's like, yes, I do rule over you as my underlings, and but she would make a good dictator personally. I mean, she can't because it's against the law, and she'll likely be executed publicly. But she still, in theory, would make a good president / dictator. So which I guess the public execution would just be forced on land. Well, no, a duck they could breathe, whatever, above water. But whatever. So chief propagandist Carp
you find a human hunter. That's what you do.
A human hunter. He's part of the assassination squad that every dictatorship has people off the books that do the killings and they hide the bodies and make people disappear and whatnot. But so yeah, he's got that squad, at the ready for any potential.
So I'm looking online. I was curious. Sorry to interrupt, but for the Dennis Rodfrog voice actor, it's not even listed on the Internet Movie Database.
It's not.
No, so I don't know who.
So no one knows who
I know.
it is.
I know. I remember reading it's in the credits. So if you want to look it up, you can look it up if you watch this. Yeah. But it was one of the other actors from it doing the voice, and I just don't know who it was, so whatever.
Yeah. And yeah, so he's got everyone up in arms about his fake stories, but then you also have protesters who didn't want, her to run for president, and then you had a bunch of like somehow paparazzi or paparos or no, paparazzi is the plural. Yeah, paparazzi.
It's not Papa Roach.
Papa Roach, yes, Papa Roach showed up and did my life into fish sticks. This is my coleslaw fork, or I don't know, or something like that. I don't know what I'm saying, but
that's hilarious. Okay,
are you recording? I want to make sure because I want these jokes to land.
Oh yeah, we're
good. I just want to make sure
recording, folks.
Good. I wanted to make sure because I can't repeat these jokes. They're just flying off my my frog tongue here, and so Carp, everyone's getting pissed at Carp. They're like, you gotta retract these stories. And he's like, I didn't mean to hurt anyone's feelings. I just like to have fun. And they're like, oh, there's lots of ways to have fun that don't rely on propaganda and telling false stories that could get people killed. And then they go into like a song, basically. There's like 5 songs in this episode.
And the songs are completely disjointed and have nothing to do with the story.
That's what I'm saying. The songs really weren't like in theme, like I guess very tangentially maybe, but it was like I don't really see how the song relates to the whole scenario.
I'll go back to the Toy Story example. Like, in Toy Story, like when You Got a Friend in Me plays, it's kind of like, plays in the background or whatever. It's like, it makes sense to the story that's going on. Or, in like Snow White, it's like One Day My Prince Will Come, it makes sense to the story. These are just totally, it just doesn't make sense.
Yeah. Like, well, there was one song that did because it talked about gossip, but then like a lot of the other ones were just like talking about like following God's law, and I'm like, so like I guess gossip is against God's law. I guess that's not really.
Well, I mean, thou shalt not lie, but yeah. So it's
not really directly. Or another one was just like, or like I can get used to feeling so happy because I'm surrounded by God's love, and it's like, but what's that have to do with the whole like theme of not gossiping or making fake stories? Whatever. The songs are pretty good. Gaither is pretty good.
That infers to me though. It means that God doesn't love you if you're gossiping.
Well, he might not love you in that instant.
I'm just
or at least,
joking.
or I know, I'm just kidding. Or at the very least, you're, to quote the high scripture, God's love can't reach you when you're being bad. Doesn't mean that God doesn't love you. It's just that it's like a sort of like a blockade going on because of your bullshit lying.
It's like you've locked your door,
Yeah, so technically it's like God's doesn't love you when you're being bad or when you're doing something like propaganda that's going to get your friend killed because they think that the dictatorship is being challenged. So yeah, God's love cannot reach you when you do that, especially if you cause someone's death, unnecessarily death.
Yeah, I mean, it's too bad that Dennis Rod Frog didn't hang out too much with Big Bass Bill because I think Big Bass Bill is basically Kim Jong-un.
Exactly. I was going to say the same thing. Kim Jong, I can't think of it. Tuna? No, that's not right. Kim Jong Tuna. No, I'll think of myself. So Kim Jong, what's the Lux?
Well, we could just go with Bill and just call him Kim Jong Bill. And
we could do that. That's good. Or lox, like that that food that's like they get a lot like in Jewish delis.
Yeah.
Lox. It's like a fish. Kim Jong. Yeah, I like Kim Jong Bill. That's better. I'll figure out some with locks later on, maybe. Later on. But like I mean, like that song's like just about like being happy because he loves God or whatever. And the songs are pretty cool because Gaither's are pretty good musicians. I mean, they're pretty. Well,
the music's actually really well done. It's not. I mean, it's good music. It's just not connected to the story.
Not at all. Not to this particular. I mean, that's pretty much the whole theme. Is just that everyone who he gossiped about now their lives are like difficult because of the lies he told. So like the flower woman, like the paparazzi are like constantly taking pictures of her and asking her questions.
Yeah, that's the character of Gloria Gladiola.
That's right. Yeah, Gloria.
Played by Gloria Gaither. So yeah.
I get it because yeah, and she's like upset because they keep talking to her and plucking stuff from her, I guess, because they think it's like a good luck charm, I'm guessing, or something like that.
Oh yeah, and by the way, the geese. I was going to tell you here because there's two geese. The one that was running, the one that he lied about running for president. There's Howard and Vestal Gooseman, played by Howard and Vestal Goodman. So yeah,
get it?
Yep.
Pretty clever, actually. And yeah, her husband's like your typical like, let's go home, honey.
Yeah.
Like let's not pay him any mind, type of thing, because she's getting upset that her friend's about to get her murdered by the state, and then have her memory erased like Stalin when he would like erase pictures with other people that he was standing next to, when by a final edition he was only standing next to like 2 people because like the other 7 people were eventually disappeared or killed throughout the next 5-10 years.
It was originally a football stadium full of people, and then it was just him in the middle.
like Carp, you're gonna get me fucking killed. You better retract this bullshit, or I'm gonna kill you. And then so he finally retracts the stories, and he's like, at first he got really mad. There's actually this funny part where it's actually turned into a meme where he's getting really sarcastic. I have to tell the truth. I'm not allowed to make things up. Like a spoiled brat. Like he's mad that like he has to tell the truth.
Yeah.
He can't just shit up about people that can again get him killed by the state. And it's like, oh my God.
That's
like,
not at all like anybody that exists in the real world.
No, that's what I'm saying. Like I chose this just like fortuitously, basically, like because a certain person pretty much lied for 45 minutes straight a few days ago about how they're completely innocent.
Yeah, as we record this, I don't know when it's going to be released, but it was you'll know who we're talking about. Yeah.
Monday, April 3rd. Tuesday, April 4th.
Yeah.
2023, a certain person, which I'm calling Trout. President Trout, he's from a neighboring kingdom from this time. He talked for 45 minutes about how he did nothing wrong, that he's completely innocent, that he's here is whitefish and stuff like that. So apparently this carp guy, Carp Lowry's in good company with this Trout guy, because they both agree to the same thing, that it's okay and fun to make up stories about people that could potentially ruin or end their physical lives. So really, if anyone should have gotten killed, it should have been Carp. Oh, that's the other thing too. So after basically like groveling and begging for her life, that Bill would show mercy to her, that she did not challenge his leadership, that Carp was just making things up because he's a compulsive liar and needs mental health treatment to help him with that. And Bill was like, in his grace, was like, sure, like, I won't kill you or whatever. And then Carp announces his presidency run campaign.
Yeah.
So was all of this just in order to drum up drama and cameras and the media so that he could announce his presidential run? But nobody believed him. They just swam away because they can't trust him. So his campaign was just over like as soon as it started. And then he retracted that as well in his newsletter that I
believe that's the point.
That is the point.
That was the lesson I learned.
The lesson was you can't believe him because he's a liar. And that he'll try to get his friends killed if it is politically advantageous to him. And then at the end, it goes in to a TV screen, and we're watching the actual Gaithers singing, and the guy's singing a song about what he would do if he was president.
Yeah,
so basically, what he's implying is that he would
actually
be
Mark Lowry, the voice of Carp Lowry.
Oh, so the fake news guy was okay, cool. Yeah. So Mark Lowry was saying that if he was president, that he would basically be like a socialist. I mean, he didn't use those words, but that's basically what he was saying, because he was saying, "Oh well, if." I actually thought the song was pretty cool.
Oh, it
basically
was.
saying, "Oh, well, if we have to raise taxes to do my plans, we'll just make Congress pay for it." I'm like,
yeah.
That's fucking base, dude. That's like fucking socialism, right? He won't say that because I know his kind don't like that word for various reasons.
Well, maybe we don't know him personally.
Well,
so,
I'm doing my character. You know what I'm doing?
Yeah, I know. I'm just saying.
I'm doing my fake atheist character.
Just letting Mark Lowry know too if he wants to come on the podcast. He's more than welcome.
And also let what's the dude's name who we interviewed two guys from the what was it called, the Reconciler movie?
Yeah, we interviewed Sean
and then what was the other guy's name? Damn it!
It was Scott Galbraith and and Sean. What's Sean's last name? It's a cool last name. I remember talking about how great it was. Yeah.
Sorry, Scott. Sorry, Sean. But anyway, Scott might be listening because I think he listens to our show now. Maybe more often.
Sean Justice. I don't know why I couldn't think of that for some reason.
How could you forget that name?
I just had a brain fart. I'm really sorry. Yeah.
Yeah. But anyways, just to let them know, I'm not really I'm actually far from an atheist. Actually, I'm super believe in God, just not a very religious way. But I'm super into meditation, mantras, praying, whatever. So when I say shit like this is my character. I'm not really I'm just I'm being a stupid idiot. Basically, it's what it is. So if anyone ever hears these episodes, I'm really not making fun of people that much. I kind of making fun of myself actually more than anyone. So yeah, I have no idea what his views are, but the song was pretty cool because basically fucking Congress could pay for this shit, they make all this money anyway, do their job. So,
Exactly.
But it was the whole thing though was on a weird fish TV screen, which was it
fishes have laptops, I guess.
They have laptops, but also too what's the I don't know what the word. It's not scale.
It looked like almost like a turtle shell or something, or like a clam shell or something. I don't know what it was, but yeah, it was weird.
But the TV, what was on the screen, it looked all weird. It wasn't I can't. What's the word where you you either shorten or extend a film to make it where it doesn't look like it's normal, where it's supposed to be.
You change the aspect ratio or something?
The aspect ratio looked weird. Did it look weird to you, or is it just me?
It was turned. I mean, it was because it was on an angle, so I don't know. It didn't look too weird to me, but it was, yeah.
I was just wondering.
Not compared to the rest of the brilliance in this animation and the
way
the
rest of
else
looked.
Yeah.
Pixar level stuff there, yeah. Probably, I think it would give, Frozen a run for its money, or, Finding Nemo, or Finding Dory, or, many of the other fish-related movies that Pixar has made throughout time. But, that's why you need those 2-year gaps, to
it's
next episode.
They didn't spend as much time as Joshua in the Promised Land, but it was
no one did really.
No, that's the pinnacle.
I honestly would love to interview that guy. If we could contact him and find him,
the guy that made Joshua in the Promised Land.
Yeah, I know that we completely trashed this film, but again, like I said, it's all about love. It's I don't really play a character because Mike can attest I act like this in real life. But it's it's slightly exaggerated and it all for fun. Even when I trash a movie, put it this way, I had to watch a movie in order for it to trash it. So I put in the time at least to watch someone's movie in order to trash it. So I'm not gonna waste time on something that I don't enjoy, doing. So obviously, I enjoy a movie enough in order to make fun of it. Otherwise, because there's been shows we have reviewed where we literally have nothing to say because it's just so boring. There's nothing to it. It's bad, but there's nothing to even make fun of. It's just there, So if I have something to make fun of, that actually means that there's actually something interesting enough in the show or the movie to make fun of. I guess I could sort of church it up that way to justify me making well that's a phrase I use. Church it up means to kind of make it better, you're you're wearing your Sunday's best, you church it up you're or in my case, my Friday's best if I went to the mosque or whatever. It's dumb talk right there, but because Juma literally means Friday, and that's where the Friday prayers, whatever. Anyway, that's the whole other thing. But sorry, you didn't really say much during this one. I kind of.
Oh no, I'm good. I was listening because I agree with everything you're saying. I mean, it was just a weird fever dream, watching this. Like, it was like weird, but it wasn't as bad as I thought it would be.
No, that's the thing. It wasn't like I was like.
It had a good message. I don't think it's bad. I mean, it just sucks that the animation was so like nightmare fuel.
It's scary.
It's like,
I mean, yeah.
So yeah.
No, I mean, I wasn't like like trudging through it. It's like it's like a 31-minute. Oh, that's the other thing too. There was like 2 minutes of like fake bloopers.
Yeah, at the end.
Kind of weird. I don't know if that was like. I don't know if they were really.
They just animated the actual bloopers that they did when they were recording, because that's what it seemed like. Like people made mistakes when they were recording and they just animated them. So
yeah.
Maybe that's what took the 2 years, because they had to animate the outtakes.
Yeah, I mean, overall, I would rate it about a 6 out of 10. Bluegills, maybe. No, not bluegills. Those are really small. I'll be not a trout, not a tuna. Tunas are pretty big. I don't know my fit. How about a 6 out of 10 haddocks? Yeah, I'll go with that. I don't know.
I'm gonna give it a walleye and a half. No, I'm joking.
Okay, that's good.
Because those are kind of bigger. So yeah,
I'm not really sure what our fish currency is at this point. We'll have to work out what that means in terms of U.S. dollar conversion.
Oh well, hopefully the way the world's going, we don't have to get to the point where we have to like barter fish to get electricity
to trade
or something.
Its currency. Yeah. Like if we could still have like a fish to dinar ratio or trade, I'm thinking we'll be all right.
Yes.
If it doesn't trade with a dinar, then we're screwed.
I mean, it kind of sucks. I don't really care. I mean, I could give you all the fish I have because I'm allergic. So it's like,
well, there you go. I mean, so you're like Jesus there. You just give everyone your fish. So, I mean, you're not creating fish out of nothing or multiplying them.
No.
Which that's a spell in Harry Potter. You can actually multiply objects, food and whatnot. I think it's called Gemino, but Jesus didn't need a wand or to practice natural magic at that point, because he was already a natural magic being.
And he can just walk on water and then just like talk to the fish and be like, hey,
well,
I need you guys because you got to feed, the masses here. So
you need to feed the masses with the fish that I multiply. So like, if you're like well versed in the occult sciences like I am, which I'm not, but I dabble in studying. I don't actually practice them. I just study them. I read stuff. But I would say Jesus is a magical being, which means that he doesn't actually have to practice magic because he is magic. So
yes,
he doesn't need to cast spells to walk on water. He doesn't need to cast spells to multiply fish and or bread and or also change water into wine for festivities purposes.
Yes,
specifically for wedding ceremonies. And he doesn't need to do spells to do that because he is magic himself, because God made him a magical.
So because it was for wedding ceremonies, does that mean that like Jesus was a wedding planner?
I don't know if he planned that wedding, but he was there definitely.
It's like a caterer at least. Yeah.
He could have been the master of ceremonies. JC is the MC. So
yeah.
JC
the MC.
JC the MC. And but I'm like probably pissing off fundamentalists here. Not really, no, not because according to Catholic Apocrypha, well, then again, usually Protestant fundamentalists don't like Catholic, but according to Catholic Apocrypha, there's actually not a I don't know where this is going from. Somehow came from the fish to now talking about old sciences. But in the Catholic Apocrypha, I kind of keep saying that word. Apocrypha is I can't think of a fish name right now. Whatever. Anyway, the idea there is no contradiction to the idea that a person can actually acquire occult powers without necessarily being blessed by them.
Yeah.
Like blessed by Jesus or by one of his disciples who also were given the the power in order to bless people to cure diseases. I mean, this is according to, I'm not saying I believe stuff literally, but according to the Bible, Jesus actually gave the disciples, or at least the 12, certain powers that came from himself, that came from God, and that they could also heal sick people, or they could do certain tricks or whatever. But so the idea is that a lot of Christians believe that that you can't acquire powers without that, no matter what. You can try and you can believe you can, but you can't. Catholic Apocrypha says no, you can. But here's the kicker though. By doing so, you're basically forfeiting your right to go into heaven, because you're doing something that is not unnatural. It is natural, but you're not doing it with God's permission. So basically, according to this Catholic Apocrypha, the world is actually infused with spiritual powers, and anyone can learn these if they want to. But if they're not supposed to learn it and they're not supposed to be able to do it, they're doing something wrong. So there's actually a story. This is where I'm getting. I mean, here's where the story comes to. So I don't. This is completely not even what the. I mean, it is a Christian show, so I guess technically it is. It is kind of. I mean, the songs don't make sense to the theme, so I think I'm allowed to talk about something that's off theme from the show. If
it's never been a thing we've been afraid of in the past.
No, I know. So. Well, for me in particular, because my ADHD mind goes into like 1,000 different subcategories. But anyway, so there was this dude. I forgot his name. Don't ask me his name. I forgot. No, I think his name was Simon. That's right. There was the tale of two Simons. I think it was. I don't think that was the word of it, but it was another guy named Simon.
Was this a prequel to the TV show Simon and Simon?
Yes, actually. Okay. About 2,000 years prior. But
okay.
It was the first book before they had TV, but it was a radio show afterwards. But they got converted into a radio show. But no, there was another guy named Simon. I think his name was, he became as known as Simon the Magus, or the Magus. I'm not sure how you pronounce it. And his story is that he heard about the disciples, that they were able to like cure illnesses because Jesus gave him those powers from himself, and then Jesus got those powers from God. So you have this sort of like tier system or whatever. And he wanted to learn this power for himself. But the reason why is because he wanted that power. It wasn't because he wanted to do good with it. He wanted occultic magical power so he could do things with it. So he asked Peter about that. And then Peter, he knew, he could just tell by how the guy was asking sort of greedily that he didn't really want it for sincere reason. So basically Peter just basically told him to fuck off. I mean, in nicer terms, pretty much what he told him. So Simon stewed on that for a long time. He's like, that piece of shit. He didn't tell me. So then he basically learned all of these magical tricks and occultic powers and spells and whatnot. And then once he figured that he learned enough, he challenged Simon Peter, to basically like a magic off, so that, he was going to prove that he has more abilities than Peter, that Peter, was given like a little blessing from Jesus, a little trick here and there. But Simon the Magus, learned all these arts for himself, and he's going to prove himself to be superior. So basically they have this magic off in I think it was like Colosseum or inside of a church, some kind of enclosed building basically. And
the magic castle?
What's that?
The magic
castle? It might have been a magic castle. So basically Peter doesn't really do much of anything. He just kind of says a prayer, and then Simon the Magus is like, you didn't really do much, did you? And then so like Simon's like, I can actually fly or whatever. And then this idiot like fucks it up. Simon probably said a prayer to basically make him fall is what it was. And then so this guy glides for a little bit, crashes to the ground. The dude dies, literally, I'm not even making this up, of a fucking foot or leg infection. He doesn't even die from like a cool thing. Like he didn't crash into a building and then breaks the walls and dies from that. No, his foot got infected from the fall and he dies. A totally like just anticlimactical death. And that's the moral of the story right there, that Catholic Apocrypha. Don't try to learn magic. You can learn it. You'll actually learn cool spells and shit, but you're going to break your foot and die of an infection if you try to challenge Peter to a magic off.
I want to see this animated.
That was a whole 10-minute long tangent. I probably got a bunch of the facts, but then again, story about fake news. It's not fake news. It's a real story. I might have screwed something, but
I have an assignment for you. I want you to learn how to animate
Okay, yeah.
and make a short film based on
I
this
might
story.
have to print a retraction because I'm going to look up Simon the Magus right now when we're done. I hope I got most of this right because I'm going off of memory completely here.
Well, that's
Then
the best way to tell a story because it's what it brings us back to the fishtails aspect of this.
Where, the fake news.
Yes.
Actually, I'm just going to read a little thing here. I'm not going to read the whole thing. Just the act of simony or paying for position is named after Simon, who tried to buy his way into the power of the. Oh, that's the other thing too. He offered to pay Peter. That made it even worse. That's why Peter was so mad. It wasn't even that he asked to learn the power. He literally was offering to pay money for it, and Peter was like, "No, oh no, I'm wrong. Damn it, no, it was Peter. Sorry, no, he was baptized by Philip, the evangelist, but Simon, later clashed with Peter." So here's what some of the stuff. Some people say he's the founder of Gnosticism, which some people don't agree with. Apparently, a whole sect was built after him, I guess, at some point in time. There's apocryphal works, including the Acts of Peter. Simon also appears as a formidable sorcerer with the ability to levitate and fly at will. And that's right, flying. So I was right. He is sometimes referred to as the Bad Samaritan due to his malevolent character. The apostolic constitutions also accuse him of lawlessness. And apparently he also has some stuff with Druidism somehow. Anyway, but it says that he was in the Forum. That's why it was. Simon's performed magic in the Forum. That's where they used to have like a lot of their sermons and stuff. In order to prove himself to be a god, he levitates up into the air above the Forum. The Apostle Peter prays to God to stop his flying. See, I was right. I remember this shit right. And he stops midair and falls into a place called the Sacra Via, meaning holy way in Latin, breaking his legs in 3 parts. The previously non-hostile crowd then stones him. I didn't remember that part. Now, gravely injured, he had some people carry him on a bed at night from Rome to Aricia and was brought forth from there to Terracina to a person named Castor, who on accusations of sorcery was banished from Rome. The Acts then continue to say that he died while being sorely cut by 2 physicians. So I guess it wasn't a leg infection. I thought I read somewhere it was a leg infection, but maybe not. And
I still want to see this. I still want to see this animated.
I guess I can learn animation. You might, who knows? You might already have an animation about this. Like maybe
no, I want to see you do it. You're doing this.
Well, I'm just gonna take. Well, it might take me 2 years, but there's definitely gonna be some fish, humanoid creatures involved.
I think you should make it as the 5th episode of Gaither's Pond.
Yes, it's gonna be called Simon the Mariner, or something like that, and who knows? Yes. And then he's gonna, instead of flying, he's gonna be able to try to prove that he can breathe underwater for a really long time. So to him, jumping out of water is going to be like the equivalent of Simon the Magus flying, but he's not going to be able to stay above water for long enough. And then Peter, also known as Pike, is going to pray to the fish god something, Friar, I don't know. And then he's going to then get shoved back into the water, whereupon he's going to get cut by a piranha's teeth by accident, and he's going to die from an infection from the physician.
Okay.
So, yep, that's going to happen.
I'm going to work on this starting right when we're done recording.
So I hope you people listening to this found this whole thing interesting, including my weird story at the end. It's like 15 minutes long.
Well, anyways, folks, hope you enjoyed this episode. A little weird. We had a weird episode of a TV show to cover. So
yes.
Yeah. Do you recommend people watch this?
Yeah, I was gonna say, I give it a 6 out of 10 haddocks. I think it's a pretty good. Again, the message actually is really good about fake news, spreading gossip, especially in a newspaper format. That's actually really relevant.
It would be better as an audio play because you wouldn't have to see the god awful.
Yeah, you can just listen to it in audio.
Uncanny valley of creatures there. So but
totally.
But it was a good story, and the music was good. It just didn't connect. But that's okay. Anyways, any last thoughts here?
No, not really.
Okay, well, folks, be sure to go to all2real2.com if you can, and check out all of our links there. Subscribe to the show if you can. Share it with your friends if you can. No one's forcing you to do anything. And
no.
Yeah. Check out our Patreon, our TeePublic, if that interests you. And be good to each other. Don't spread fake news.
No.
Or you never know, you might have your leg, broken, and you'll be stoned and stuff.
Yeah. Yep, exactly.
And also remember, if you're worried about anything, I'm like 2 degrees away from a dictator.
Yeah, and we just reviewed the dictator. Well, a dictator was part. Yeah.
But you know what? Be good to each other.
Don't dictate to each other.
No. Unless you're, a guy who has a secretary and she's typing up the stuff that you're dictating.
Yeah.
Something like that. That's okay. Or a female that has a secretary, and I'm not judged.
Oh, you caught yourself there.
Yes, I did.
Yeah, you had to get woke for a minute. You couldn't just say a secretary's a woman. You got to get woke.
Yep. So
woke is them. Sorry.
But until next time, folks, remember that I love you. I'm sure that Carp Lowry loves you, and Sesame definitely loves you.
Yes.
And until next time, bye-bye.
Thanks for listening to All Too Real 2 podcast, a Cullen Park production. Produced and edited by Michael E. Cullen II. Music by Matthew Hawes. Subscribe and share the show. Visit us at cullenpark.com.